So, the Super Mario Bros. Wonder Direct just released recently on August 31st, and this featured 15 minutes of gameplay showing off a lot of new things. Honestly, the game looks amazing. I'm so excited to play this when it releases, but I'm going to talk about what I liked and didn't like in this Direct. So first off, art style and animations. So first of all, I just want to say I absolutely love the art style of this game. While the new Super Mario Bros. Series, it didn't look bad, like it was fine. Each game just looked way too similar to each other, and it just got really stale and bland after a while, so it's super refreshing to see everything look so new. It's so much more bright and colorful and it's full of life. Everything is really lively animations. Just like in the first shot in the Direct, the ground looks like it's made out of clay, the hills in the background, they're bright, the water's very detailed and pretty. I've said this before, but Nintendo Water looks so amazing. Like, I don't know how they do it. It always looks so good. Plus the clouds, the bright blue sky, it's so pleasing to look at. The tree also has like a shiny look to it. Looks like clay almost. The character's super fluid movement, way more expressive than any games in the past. Bowser's new castle form looks absolutely amazing. It contrasts very well with the previously bright and beautiful world and looks very menacing and threatening. Even the world map, it looks stunning. Bright colors, each world has a very distinct look to it. It's much more detailed than past games. Just look at the world map. All the worlds, they have distinct color schemes and shapes and terrain. It's amazing. There's similar styles to past games, like there's plains and deserts and there's snow, but they all look unique and have lots of interesting things like fluff puff peaks. It has snowmen and igloos in the back. It's really pretty scene to look at here. There's some really pretty pink clouds, some beautiful areas that look like they're desert themed with donuts and frosting. There's all sorts of delicious, colorful looking levels. I could go on and on about all the levels we've seen so far. They all look amazing, honestly, but I'll leave it at that for now. And I just want to mention how all the actions the characters do in the game, they're so expressive. Their facial expressions change and they've moved so fluidly, and it's just so nice to see everything with so much more personality. Music. So we haven't heard a ton of music so far, but everything we've heard has seemed pretty good, and it's really nice to have not the same themes reused over and over like in New Super Mario Bros. The music was still good in those games, but even with changing the themes a bit, they mostly reused the same music over and over, and it got tiring. I'm very excited to eventually hear the full soundtrack of this game. So the characters we play in this game. So most characters in a Mario game ever, which is crazy. So you can pick between Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Yellow Toad, Blue Toad, Toadette, Yoshi, Red Yoshi, Yellow Yoshi, Light Blue Yoshi, and Nabbit. So almost all these characters, most of the characters, they play the same with just different skins. Although Yoshi and Nabbit, they don't take damage, but they also don't transform with power-ups, so they're basically in easy mode. And also Yoshi can flutter jump and eat objects. So yeah, in my predictions, I predicted this would be the 2D Mario game with most characters to play as, and I was right. I was very excited to see all these characters. At the same time though, I was a bit disappointed when they announced all characters play the same. Well, this is understandable for multiplayer to make it more fair. I was hoping it would be like Super Mario 3D World, where each character has like slightly different properties, and would maybe even have unique power-ups, but this is just not the case here. All these characters play the same, just besides a few for easy mode, and it's just have a different skin. You know, the Yoshi and the Nabbit, they won't take any damage, but they also can't use any power-ups. And it's honestly a little disappointing too with that. A lot of people, they just won't use these characters because they don't want to make things too easy. So they really have just made some sort of like toggle where you can switch on easy mode, but oh well. It's still nice to have the option for easier characters, and these are especially good for less experienced players, but I probably want to use these. Besides, them playing the same isn't really too big of a deal at all, since we have badges that you can apply for each level, which can change a whole lot of properties and do really cool things, which I'll get to a bit later. Some of the new enemies. There's so many enemies in this game. There's so much variety. It seems to be mostly new enemies, although of course there's some classic enemies returning as well. Even just the ones they named in the trailer look really cool and unique, along with dozens of others we don't know about yet. Some ones that went over are like Hoppy Cats. These are spiky creatures that jump when you jump. These are pretty similar to Skip Squeak from 3D World, but still cool. Melon Piranha Plants, these seem cool. It's nice to see unique new piranha plants, and these spit melon seeds at you like bullets pretty much. Condarts, they're like birds who try to attack you and they stick into walls. Conks, they're like thwomps, but they can move left and right and up and down. So that's very interesting. They interact with the environment too, like crushing slime. Mumsies, as you can tell, these are like mummies. You need to grab a handle to unwind them and defeat them. This is so cool to see an enemy you have to defeat differently from just like jumping on their head. This shows massive potential for other enemies as well, with different ways to defeat each enemy possibly. Mamas, these are pretty weird creatures with giant mouths. They try to eat anything that comes close to them. And yeah, these are just a few of the enemies they featured here, but throughout the whole Direct, there was so many unique, awesome-looking enemies. I can't wait to see all of them when the game releases. I hope a lot of them also have like a unique and different way to defeat them like the Mumsies do, to really mix up the gameplay. Next up, the new power-ups. So, yeah, we also saw a few new power-ups they showed off. There probably are more, but we just haven't seen those yet. But, yeah. So, of course, Elephant. We've seen Elephant Mario before, and they revealed and confirmed every character can become an elephant. So you can use the elephant's long trunk to swing and attack enemies, destroy blocks, and hit items upward like the shell they show hitting a Lakitu. You can also break through blocks, you can dash across large gaps, and you can store and spray water to water plants and interact with things. Yeah, this is a really cool and unexpected power-up. Like, who was thinking that Nintendo would put an elephant power-up in their game? Like, no one, honestly. And this is even cooler than, like, power-up suits of the past, because you actually turn into a large elephant, you don't just dress up like an elephant. And it's really nice you can also use the trunk independently, it doesn't just do it automatically, and the elephant has quite a few things you can do with it. Like, this is a lot of potential, it's very cool. The bubble. This was also very unexpected. The bubble power-up, this is like more like in the style of classic Mario power-ups, and this is more simple, but it seems very useful. So these bubbles, they can be used to capture and defeat enemies. I really love the paratroopers animations of freaking out trying to escape the bubble before being captured here. You can also defeat like undefeatable enemies like dry bones this way, and you can also use bubbles through walls somehow. Also, a really big thing with this, you can launch several of them and jump off them like platforms. While they do pop after one jump, you could definitely use this to get to really high places, and I also see it's being useful in speedruns of the game. And then finally, Drill. The last new power-up they showed off is the Drill power-up, or the Drill Mushroom. This reminds me of the Drill in Super Mario Galaxy 2, and you can headbutt things that would normally hurt you, you can drill down, you can burrow, you can move through the ground or the ceiling. Just really awesome, a lot of potential here again. Definitely, there could be a lot of secrets you have to find using this, and it can also make dealing with enemies easier, which is very nice. And then, not a new power-up, but they confirmed the Fire Flower returned. It's the same as always. No one was really expecting it to be gone. Like, it's a Fire Flower. It's always there. Like, come on. And then finally, not really a power-up, but the Item Balloon. It allows you to hang on to an extra power-up, which is very useful. I don't think this is actually a new feature. I'm pretty sure this was in Super Mario World or some other games. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now I want to talk about the setting in this new game, the Flower Kingdom. So, yeah, the new location in this game is the Flower Kingdom. It's nearby to the Mushroom Kingdom, so it shares some similarities, but it's new in many ways. You can even see the Mushroom Kingdom in the background in some places, like the very beginning. This is just another thing that's so refreshing with this game. It's a whole new world rather than just the Mushroom Kingdom over and over. When I first heard the Flower Kingdom, I was thinking of Super Mario Odyssey, because the Wooded Kingdom and the Secret Flower Field, and I kind of got those mixed up, but they're definitely not the same. So in the Direct, they said there's 6 worlds and a total of 7 areas, but I think there's probably more. The narrator said it's made up of 6 worlds, and there's the Petal Isles also, which is part of the middle, kind of connects to all the worlds. And it's pretty odd we don't have 8 worlds, because there's usually at least 8 worlds, but I'm very sure there's the clouds at the bottom of the road map you can see. These will probably be revealed at some point in the game to reveal at least 1 or 2 more worlds. Like, come on, just 7 worlds? I feel like they're going to do more, but we'll see. And there are some similar level and world themes to many past games. It seems quite distinct and unique in its own way, such as the first world it's not just plain grass plains. Instead, there's a mix of like mountains and grass, which is cool. Each individual world also seems bigger than worlds in past games, meaning a lot more levels in each area to play. I'll briefly go over the worlds they showed off and what I think of them. So, Pipe Rock Plateau. This is the first and the starting world, and as I said before, themed with a mix of grass plains and mountain, which is cool. Fluff Puff Peaks. This world looks so pretty. On the world map, you can see some snowy and icy areas with lots of pink clouds, and there's also a big castle, which is interesting. We don't see that in some of the other worlds on the world map. Shining Falls. This world seems very unique, honestly. There's like interesting square and like triangle shapes around on the map. It seems like a lot of like muddy water and waterfalls, something like that. It almost looks like golden colored on the world map. I'm not sure what's up with that. The backgrounds in this world also are so pretty with that fluid animation. Oh, it's so good. Then there's the Petal Isles. This is what connects all the worlds together. It doesn't have a world number, I don't think, so it's interesting, and it seems like maybe these are just levels you can like play anytime, just when you're going between worlds. And they say it's just kind of like a mix of everything. Like there's water, there's caves, there's probably more. And you can traverse multiple islands, so that probably means this game is more open than any other 2D Mario games. And maybe you can sort of go in the direction and play the levels we want to, at least in some specific map areas. There's also the Uncanny Forest lined with giant mushrooms. It's kind of like the Soda Jungle in New Super Mario Bros. And this very cool purple color scheme. And finally, the Scorching Hot World of Molten Magma. The look of this world reminds me a lot of the Ruined Kingdom from Super Mario Odyssey with looks like a dragon or something. This definitely looks like a really tough world, and it's very likely one of, if not the last world in the game, so yeah. I still think there could be more though. They did say the words "and more," so yeah, this basically confirms my theory that there's more worlds and the clouds at the bottom. There will be more worlds to reveal. Maybe after you beat the main game. I don't know. Yeah. New Bowser Castle form. So, yeah, Bowser is a brand new form in this game because, you know, he collects the Wonder Flower and he literally merges with the whole castle, which is crazy, honestly. He turns into, like, a massive castle ship thing with a bunch of, like, piranha plants. Like, it's insane, honestly. It's awesome. Like, this isn't, like, a brand new, like, big boss like some people were hoping, but this is still very cool and changes it up quite a bit, which this whole game is just doing that. Like, it's still Bowser, but it's not just going to be a plain old Bowser fight again. Like, it's crazy, and like maybe we can even turn into a castle and fight that. That would be super cool. I'll go over the story a bit. So yeah, you need to stop Bowser to save Flower Kingdom. Yeah, it's not anything too crazy. Mario games, they often have relatively simple stories, but that's not really what the games are about. But it does seem pretty interesting. It's not just Peach getting kidnapped again. Thank God. Obviously, you can play as Peach, so that wouldn't make any sense anyway. But Bowser steals the Wonder Flower, he spreads chaos across the land, he needs to be stopped, and the Flower Kingdom needs to be saved. So, the stakes also seem a bit higher than usual. Like, the opening scene is actually pretty intense, and Bowser seems very, very powerful, and very big for sure. And I'm quite interested to see how this story will go. Next up, the world map. I've said before, the world map, it looks amazing, like, oh my god. I've already talked about how great the art looks, but there's some very nice features here. Like, there's some open areas where you can basically just pick the levels in those areas to play in any order. That's really nice. It's awesome to see the game be less linear, especially for a 2D game. I feel like that's quite rare. And some courses you need Wonder Seeds to unlock, and this adds more value to collecting Wonder Seeds too. Plus, you can also really quickly come back to courses in the menu. You can see all the courses you've played, which will make replaying levels so much easier and faster. Very nice feature. Next thing, talking flowers. So, yeah, this is another thing, honestly, no one would have expected from this game before it was announced. Like, it's just so weird and quirky, and it's such a Nintendo thing to add something that's, like, absolutely not needed at all, but it's, like, something that's super cool and unique, and that's what this is. These talking flowers, they appear all throughout the levels in many places. Sometimes they just say funny things, or they give you advice, or they just talk to you. They can comment on, like, the scenery, the things that are happening in the game. And I did find out also recently, you can mute them, which I guess is good for some people if they don't like it. But, like, I definitely want to hear them on what they have to say. Some of them are pretty funny, honestly. Like, this is just another thing that adds so much personality to the game, and I guess makes playing by yourself less lonely feeling. I mean, they can be unironically, like, really funny sometimes. I love in the first trailer where he's just commenting about the Goombas, like, oh, the Goomba looks so serene. And then, of course, Elephant Mario just, like, kills the Goomba with, like, his trunk, and it's like, well then, like, I don't know why that's so funny. It's just, like, his reaction to that, I just love that. It's really cool. Next up, purple coins. So, there's a lot of purple coins throughout the levels. This is kind of like the ones in Super Mario Odyssey, but not really, but they're both purple. So, yeah, you can collect these purple coins to buy badges from shops. These badges are super cool, but I'll talk about these in a bit. There's also large purple coins, of course, to give you more, and they serve as some of the main collectibles to find in levels and, like, kind of like secrets, probably hidden in some places and stuff like that. Next big thing, the whole gimmick of this game, but a good gimmick. Honestly, a lot of times I think gimmicks are good, but it's just the main selling point of the game. So, Wonder Flowers and the Wonder Effects. So, these transform the world in crazy, unexpected worlds when collected. Like, the whole world basically changes, and every Wonder Flower seems unique so far as we've seen, and you can never really expect what the level will change into or do to you. And this will honestly be super fun to see what all the Wonder Effects are when playing. Like, just a few things, like, pipes can start moving, or a stampede of enemies can suddenly appear. A bunch of other cool things that showed, probably many more we haven't seen yet. The perspective change effect is super cool, and, like, it changes the whole level into, like, isometric perspective, and you walk on the wall. It's like, I never would have thought of that before seeing this. Like, that's just so unique, honestly. And then, another really cool thing, your character can transform into different things like a Goomba, or a Spike, or a blow-up balloon. Like, this really reminds me of the capture mechanic in Super Mario Odyssey. And honestly, this shows a Mario Odyssey 2D style could work really well if we ever have Super Mario Maker 3. And then finally, you collect the Wonder Seed at the end of these to return the course to normal, and you can use these seeds to unlock more courses as well. Next up, badges. So, the new badge system is extremely cool. I'm really excited to see all the badges and see how they will change the way we play. I was initially disappointed how most of the characters play the same, but I think this will change how every character plays, and some of these seem super useful, and you can pick a different one for each course based on what seems the most useful. So there's quite a lot of variety of badges with different types such as action, boost, and expert badges. Here's just a few badges I find really cool. There's the one that enhances your wall climbing and wall jumping. This one is really cool to get better at like wall jumping. Wall jumping is always very fun, and now you can like climb a bit and you can jump further. That's cool. There's a dolphin kick that gives you a burst of speed underwater. You can break blocks. It's kind of like the frog suit, and it'll be so much easier to swim with this equipped. There's the crouching high jump. This one is pretty much like Peach in Super Mario Bros. 2, and the Nintendo Treehouse even said that themselves, so that's cool. They definitely know what they're referencing. There is the safety bounce where you can recover from dangerous drops. This seems really overpowered, so there's probably some sort of cooldown, but still interesting. Invisibility. I don't see this being useful, to be honest. The enemies can't see you, but you also can't see yourself, so this would be very tough to play with, but it would make for some insane challenge runs since you can't even see yourself. Like, this seems tough, honestly. And there's also the jet run where you don't stop running, you just keep running and like really fast, and this will definitely be useful for speed running. And there's also badge challenge courses. These act like as a tutorial and a test for some of these badges, and also some of the badges you can buy with purple coins from the Poplin shops. This will add so much to the game and change your experience for every level based on what you select. And then finally, the last and big new thing I want to talk about is the multiplayer. I have some mixed feelings about this, to be honest. So there's 4-player local co-op. This is basically just like the new Super Mario Bros. Games, although you can't actually interact with other players, I don't think. It seems like that's an interesting change. It'll make it less chaotic because you can't just like throw each other and bounce on each other, which was fun, but I could also see how you could find that frustrating at the same time, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And a really nice new feature is when a player is defeated, they become a ghost, and they can be brought back if hit within time by players. And you can actually move, which is better than like the bubble where you just like helplessly float around and hope one of your friends that you're playing with like pops you. So, kind of a nice reveal. We weren't sure about this. Yes, there is online multiplayer, but there's a catch. So, yeah, you can connect online. So basically, you see other players on the world map, and you see them on the courses like as live player shadows. That's what Nintendo called it. Basically, they can bump into you and they can bring you back if you die. They can send greetings and share items, and you can also place a standee to basically act as yourself, but you aren't actually there, to revive ghosts and help them. So, if you come into contact with a player or a standee, you also see their username and heart points, and reviving and gifting gives you more heart points, which I don't really know what this does yet. If there's like some sort of shop, I don't feel like this will be that useful, or if heart points will do anything, but it's another thing, we just have to wait and see, I guess. So yeah, you can also create a room with friends and see what courses they're playing, and you can enter and race through certain courses by hitting the race block. Racing through courses, that will definitely be fun, and it's kind of weird how you can create a friends room. Like basically when I saw this in the direct, I was like, oh, so they actually do have co-op multiplayer and you can do it with your friends, that's awesome. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, no. So, yeah, like unfortunately there's no actual equivalent to the 4-player co-op for online, which honestly kind of sucks, but at the same time, knowing Nintendo, their online multiplayer really struggles sometimes, and it can just really lag, especially like Super Mario Maker 2, for example. It can be bad, even today. Yeah, I was really disappointed when I first saw this, but honestly, the idea has grown on me a bit, and I kind of like this. I think it's really unique, and it means you can always interact with some other players, even when you don't have friends to play with at the moment. Honestly, I don't really see myself doing online co-op that much, even if they did have it. Because it's just a lot of effort to get friends together and to do that, especially with Nintendo's servers, so this way I can interact with other random players and help other people out, which is kind of cool. This is pretty similar to me, like with Just Dance 2023, they removed the online mode with random people, which was the World Dance Floor, and I really liked it, and they replaced it with the ability to make rooms and you can play with friends online like you would in local co-op, like in your living room, but I never do this, because it's not worth the time and effort of finding people to play with at the same time. I just like playing with random people online, you know? I think this would be pretty fun with this multiplayer, and plus you can always just play local co-op with your friends and family. I know it sucks you can't do it online, but it'll be a better experience anyway. You don't have to deal with lag and all that, so, yeah. Yeah, so that's it. Those are all my thoughts for the Super Mario Bros. Wonder Direct. I'm so excited to play this game, honestly, like, it seems that there's endless potential for fun, creative, unique things to be in this game. We've seen so much already. I know this game will be amazing. Like, this might even become the new best 2D Mario of all time. Honestly, like, the classics are really great, and there's so many great 2D Mario games. I haven't beat that many because I'm just bad at beating games, but that's besides the point. But honestly, I think with all these new and creative ideas, it could be a really amazing and really special game. Like, we'll just have to see how good it is when it releases, honestly. I know for sure that this is going to be better than all the new Super Mario Bros. Games. Those aren't bad. Like, I still think they're all pretty good games at least, but it's just, this is so much more style and so much more unique. And, like, it just seems so special. Like, there's so much, like, this really feels like a passion project. They thought of, like, oh, what are all the cool things we can add? How we can make this full of life and with expressions and just, oh, everything. Like, they just threw everything in there, and I cannot wait to play this. Yeah, make sure to comment what you think of this game. Do you agree or disagree with the takes I said, whatever I say? And yeah, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next video. Or never if you never go to my channel again, which is fine, but bye.